This right here is my 2022 Super Duke R Evo. Can I push this thing to the limit? No, probably not, but god damn it, I'm gonna try. So as you can probably tell, we are back out here at COTA for the last track day of the season with the fine folks from Ride Smart, if you can see the logo on the jacket there. And we're gonna be taking this thing out to see how it feels. Now yesterday I was running this thing all day. It was like 77 degrees, so it was really nice. Today it is 48 right now, and it's getting up to a high of a balmy 52, which is going to make riding a bike with 105 plus foot-pounds of torque pretty difficult. So we're gonna see how this goes. Let's just dive right into the first session, which is probably gonna be a lead follow. Alrighty people, session one is in the books. That was just the lead follow session and we barely got any heat in the tires. I came over here to check and like on a bike like this, sure it's cold outside, but if I had built heat in the tires, even after a minute, they'd still have some temperature. Nothing, they're basically like stone cold. So we were not going fast enough to put any heat in those tires, and until the sun behind me there properly pokes through those clouds, that's not going to change. One thing though I do want to talk about real quick is something that continues to validate my ire for key fob bikes. Where am I supposed to put a key fob for this machine in a tracksuit with no pockets? And the answer, I can't show you, but it's in my pants. I literally put the key fob in my Insta360 case and I put it in my pants. My key sits right next to my junk. Sorry, whoever gets this bike next, assuming I ever sell it. First real session, number 2 in the books. My hands are freezing. My tires aren't nearly as warm as they should be, but I'm having fun out there. Honestly, one of the things that amazes me about the Super Duke is how much it can just be like, you know, a big SV650 if it wants to. And then when I ask it to really get after it, it's like, okay, hang on, because we're moving now. But I actually feel like I'm learning a lot on it. It's also really easy to move from side to side on the bike. I really wish that it would heat up. I really wish that that sun would break through those clouds right there. It's so chilly. I'm not putting like any heat in the tires. All right, y'all, let's make this mistake together. Let's see if they posted lap times from that last session. I was feeling pretty good. Because it's cold, my last lap time that I have recorded was 3:10.8. Yesterday I did a 2:52.4, so a lot slower because of the cold. But I felt a lot better that last session. 7 seconds faster, 3:03.3. So, oh no, 3:03.8. So, 21 out of 41. So, almost in the top 50 percentile. Not bad. My lines are feeling pretty good. It was a filming session, so I'm gonna get some feedback. And then it's lunch break. So, let's head up to the classroom.
A few moments later.
Okay, so a little bit of feedback before lunch. First thing they said, first piece of advice was I need to be not in the center of the bike anywhere but the front straight and the back straight. Front straight and the back straight, it's fine for me to be in the center of the bike. Everywhere else, I got to get off one side or the other. And basically nowhere should I be, you know, in that center and then waiting until just before the turn to set up, because that's upsetting the bike. So the more I do that, the better. And then the second thing was line selection. I still need to tighten up my lines a little bit. There's some sections watching the tape where I was like right where I need to be, but then there's a couple of spots like turn 7, I'm going really wide out where I don't need to be, which means I gotta hook right for 8 and then come back. I gotta go do this big swoopy thing. Same thing on 18. Coming out of 18 before 19, I'm doing a big swoopy thing that's weird. So if I can avoid doing that, the mistake in 18 is happening early on because I'm going way wide. I need to kind of not hug it tight, but not go so far out to come all the way back in. Couple of quick things that I need to work on. The body position thing, man, that's a career-long endeavor. So I have been doing a lot of squats though. But next cut in the show is session number 4. Well, session 4 is exactly what we refer to as an intermediate session because it was the most intermediate energy I've ever seen. I didn't have my camera recording for this, which is a huge bummer, but my group leaves, like they separate the intermediate group into subgroups. My group leaves, it's 2 Ducatis up front, and literally cold tires, first turn, guy steps on the gas, twists the throttle, and low sides this brand new Ducati. What I've learned coming to a lot of these track days, don't be near Ducati guys, because they are either going to ride like they own the racetrack, or they're a disaster waiting to happen. More so than other bikes, it's Ducati guys, man. I do not like being on a racetrack with Ducati guys. Well guys, I decided to pit in a little bit early because something was feeling weird out there. For whatever reason, I couldn't get any purchase on my right foot peg. And for reasons we'll talk about in a little bit, that part of the problem is that the pegs themselves are not all that grippy. The second thing is there, bum, 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 coolant leak. I took the bike in to TJ's to have them service it, and I kind of had to push them to get it done before the weekend. So they were like last minute on the coolant, and I think I pushed it too fast. So I got to take it back to TJ's and let them sort that out. I've done 11 sessions. I'm gonna call it here. Let's pass it back to Tomorrow Jake and a little bit of a review on the old Super Duke El Duke de Super. I don't know.
Tomorrow.
And here we are a couple of days later at the ass of the street. I see you, French dude, from the Street Triple video saying I said cul-de-sac wrong. Yeah, I probably did, but I'm an American, and I think that's the whole point of the Battle of Walmart Valley, was that we don't have to say French words right.
I'd like to buy a hamburger.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
But let's give you my thoughts on the Super Duke, and we're gonna start out with the rough stuff first, because the rest of the bike is kind of so good that it almost makes up for it, so these other flaws are just so glaring. First and foremost, the foot pegs that are on here. I don't know who at KTM thought this was a good idea, but these are terrible, terrible foot pegs. Once I started to actually push this motorcycle and I really needed the grip on the pegs, they were not there for me. They're a little bit too short, which I understand why they think that's a good idea, because people are obviously gonna push this thing to the absolute limit every time they go out to the racetrack, right? So they need the ground clearance, so let's shorten up those foot pegs a little bit. No. Most people getting this motorcycle are gonna be like me, dipshits in the intermediate group. Give us longer foot pegs and put the knurling on the top of the foot peg, not the front. That's where your feet are supposed to be. Secondly, we have to talk about the tank grips from KTM here. Now I'm gonna throw them a bone because this motorcycle is used. It's a little old. I don't know when these tank grips went on, but these things are horrible. And knowing how much KTM charges for their power parts crap, I cannot imagine buying these myself. And frankly, even used tech spec tank grips have a lot more grip out of them than these do. So God help you if you actually spent money on those. Then we have to talk about the wind on this motorcycle. So I was dealing with a roughly 20-mile-an-hour north-south crosswind, which goes right across the back straight. And at about 165 miles an hour, this thing is unrideable for me in that wind condition. And I know, naked bike, but it's still worth pointing out. It feels like, even more so than on my Tuono, I was having to death grip the handlebars to stay on the bike. Then we gotta talk about the KTM problem, and that is keeping fluids inside the motorcycle, which it seems like a lot of KTMs struggle with, including this one. I have developed a leak at the return line at my radiator. Now, admittedly, this motorcycle was at TJ's for a $2,000 service to get the valves done, and they had to drain all the coolant because you have to take the radiator off to do that. And it seems like we've developed a leak. Either the hose is cracked or it just didn't go on right. And I'm not gonna blame the guys at TJ's for making a mistake, because I did kind of push them to get this bike out faster. When you as the customer are doing that, there's a little bit of responsibility that you have to take. I could probably fix it, but I'm just gonna take it back to TJ's. Now let's talk about the good stuff, and we gotta start with the best of the best, and that is this motor. Oh my God, is this motor incredible on the track. You have really nice usable torque everywhere. You have a ton of power for the back straights. It was doing this thing that's a little bit different from the M1000 RR, where the M1000 put on power so quickly that it felt like you were teleporting from place to place. This bike feels like it's ripping you across the racetrack. It's really nerve-wracking for me to dig into the power on this thing, getting it started down the straight. I've actually started going through a lot of corners a gear up so that it doesn't just absolutely wheelie and throw me off the back. It is worth pointing out that the tech is gonna help me out a lot there, which is the next thing I wanna talk about. The modes on here make this motorcycle an SV650 if it wants to be. If you just wanna chill out, you can turn it into street mode, and it's so mellow, and it doesn't feel bad in street mode when you're trying to go quick. A lot of other big power motorcycles, which are really quick and want you to be going as fast as possible, when you don't ride it the way that they want to be ridden, they don't feel great. Even with the modes helping it out, they can feel a little bit lurchy, a lot slower. It feels like there's this film between you and the motorcycle. On the KTM, I didn't feel that at all. It was incredible how good this thing felt in street mode. And then once I started stepping it up to sport and performance and track, it's next level. And it's paired with some incredible suspension and even better brakes. The brakes on here were so good that I've started to develop a more nuanced understanding of the ground at COTA, which is weird to say. For example, coming down the front straight, when you're going up the hill into turn 1, if you're on the far right-hand side of the racetrack, there's a dip where the ground just sort of disappears out from under you. I found that on the KTM, and I heard that basically what happened is I'm braking, I notice it's there, I'm still holding the brake because I'm going, you know, 150 miles an hour into this fucking dip. Bike scoots right over it and the tires just lock up on the other side, and I hear this squealing, and the ABS is just like, nah, I got you. We're gonna be fine. But especially coming into those hard braking zones, it's incredible how good these brakes are when paired with how big and heavy this motorcycle is, especially with a big fat fuck like me on the back of it. And then there's the sound and the presence that this thing has on the track. I had a bunch of people come up to me and they're like, I heard you behind me, and I could feel the bike like breathing down my neck because it just has this imposing growl to it. And then once you really dig into it, the only other bike that you can really hear over this is like a Ducati. I do not like being on a racetrack with Ducati guys. Lastly, I know a bunch of people are gonna ask, am I faster on this than I was on the Tuono? And the answer is yes. I did a 256.8 on the Tuono and I did a 252.4 on this thing, so I shaved almost 5 seconds. It's so imposing. It's so imposing. It's so mean. And it feels, for me, I've gotten so used to being passed everywhere. So now being able to pass people anywhere is incredible. Down the back straight, I've got the power to pass people. Around corners, I've got the power to pass people. It's so nice to just scoot around. Actually, it made me feel fast for like the first time ever because I wasn't getting dusted. Every now and then, it's good to strap on the big boy pants and do some dusting yourself. So hopefully you guys enjoy this. Catch you later.